This is my chart. No RSI, no MACD, no moving averages, no Bollinger Bands, no volume profile, no VWAP, no ATR ribbon, nothing. It's just price. And before you click off thinking I'm oversimplifying things, I want to show you something first. This was my chart 2 years ago. And I want you to really take a look at this, because I was convinced as a new coming trader that this was what serious trading looked like. I'd researched every single one of these indicators that you might be using as we speak. I understood what they measured, and I could explain the formula behind most of them. Yet I was still losing money. Consistently, every freaking week. This video is about why this chart was the problem. Not my psychology, not my risk management, not the market. This chart. And what happened when I finally deleted all of it. Indicators don't give you information the market hasn't already given you. It might be read in a different manner. It might be understood in a different manner. But it's still the same information that the market is already giving you. Every single indicator, RSI, MACD, stochastics, moving averages that you might have already searched on YouTube at this point, is a mathematical calculation applied to price data that already exists. It's derivative. It's lagging. By the time your RSI crosses 70 and gives you an overbought, so to say, signal, price has already moved. You're reacting to a reaction. Let me say that again. You are reacting to a reaction. And I know what you're thinking. I use indicators as confluence, not as signals. I said that too. For about 12 months, I said that. But here's the honest question. If you already need price structure to confirm the indicator, and you need the indicator to confirm price structure, what's actually doing the work? Price is doing the work. The indicator is just making you feel better about the decision you already made. And that feeling, that is a false sense of confirmation. It's exactly why indicators are dangerous. Not because they're wrong, but because they're comfortable. They give you something to point at, something to blame when the trade goes wrong. The RSI said oversold. The MACD was crossing. You can hide behind them indefinitely. And I did that. I used to do that. The more indicators I added, the more I felt like I was doing something. Like I was being thorough. I understood, and it was complicated and complex. And I even like to show off my indicators to my friends and family and say, look how crazy this is. This is what I do. Like I was some serious trader, even though I was losing money. My account was telling everybody essentially a different story, right? So many times when I sit down with people, I tend to ask them, what do you see? And many of them have indicators rolling around, moving, this and that. What do you see? And I will tell you this, and something that is very scary for me as a pure price action reader. They say, well, my indicator is telling me this and that. That's the first thing that they say. I look at my indicators. The first thing you do is look at your indicator. So my question for you is, are you reading price, or are you just reading bunch of confluences in indicators? My question for them would be, do you need price action? Because they're so dependent on lagging indicators. I know. I understand the feeling. Indicators look cool. It looks like you're doing something, right? But enough of the lies. You can read price from what it is. The information that is on the chart is all you need. You don't need indicators. And in fact, what you see right in front of you, this right here, this is what I use. Simple lines that I find interest in. Simple areas in price that I find interest in. And this is what now more than 350 people find interest in it as well. And a lot of them have succeeded already. A lot of them. And it's because they're seeing price for what it actually is now. And I remember the day I did it. I just started deleting RSI, gone. MACD, gone. Both moving averages, gone. Bollinger Bands, gone. Volume indicators, gone. Everything gone. Get rid of that shit. And I sat there looking at a completely naked chart for probably 10 minutes. Just candles. And my first thought was, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Which is insane, right? Because price is the only thing that's real. Price is the only thing that actually pays you or takes money away from you. It's not the indicator. It's what price does, right? And after 2 years of trading, and after about a year of trading, I had become so dependent on derivatives of price that raw price felt alien to me. But I kept staring. Slowly. And I mean slowly. This didn't happen overnight. I started seeing things. Structure. Levels where price had reacted before. Points where buyers stepped in hard. Points where sellers overwhelmed everything. Patterns in how price moved. Not indicator patterns, actual price behavior. What does it do? The market started to become alive again. No longer was it this indicator crossing this, but now it was, what is it trying to tell me? And now a story was being built. And that story is what I'm operating on till this day. And that story is what hundreds of people have experienced by now. It was like learning to read again, essentially. Like all the indicators had been translation layer between me and the market. And I'd been so busy reading the translation, I'd never learned the original language. I've just been focused on the filter in between, so to say. The core idea is this. The market communicates through price behavior. And price behavior, when you stop drowning it in noise, is actually not complicated. There are patterns in how price moves that repeat. Not because of some mystical market cycle, but because human behavior repeats. Fear and greed don't change. They never change. The way that the institutions operate in the market doesn't change. The way retail traders get trapped in the wrong direction will never change. Because there will always be somebody new that learns from the wrong person. The shit show system is essentially built around reading these behaviors directly from price. No lag and no indicator telling you what already happened, but it reads what other people are seeing. You might be asking yourself, but Jay, how is that possible? Well, simply put it, based on the numbers are telling you the next move before it happens. They tell you what is most likely with a higher probability going to happen before it happens. Based on what? Based on people. And I think that's why my story in taking a number 2, a number 1, number 3, number 4, and making them people, persons. What do they want to do? What would they think in this situation? This right here was essentially what I was watching. Things that I started to recognize over and over again. Reaction points, right? This little reaction point where it's coming from a 2. And I started to create numbers behind it. And the thing that genuinely surprised me when I started paying attention to raw price is that I started to understand why things moved. The why behind it. Not just only it does, but also why it does. Now, I don't know about you, but how my brain functions is that I need to understand a why behind something to accept it. I need to understand why something is happening, not just some dickhead telling me it works. No, but my friend, why does it work? It just does. That means that I'm going to have to go do the work now because I need to understand why it works. I can accept it. I can't operate in something like that otherwise. So the why things moved is what I started to understand. The story within price. Not the RSI said so, but actually understanding. This is a 2 sitting up top, so it's about to get swept by the 3. And that 3 is a wick 3. So that wick 3 is going to run back up, take out that 2, then shoot back down lower as a 4. And that tells me that we are now bearish, so I'm going to look for shorts next time. I was starting to read a full-on story in the shit show sequence. It's not borrowed confidence from an indicator or a mentor that tells me that this is exactly what I should feel and what I should do. No. This is actually reading what happens. And this means that I can build my story in the market. Now, I didn't just remove everything and started to guess what is happening. I want to be clear about that. I replaced the complexity with simplicity. Not complexity with nothing, but I replaced complexity with simplicity. And what came out of that period of stripping everything back is what I now call the shit show system. And the name is deliberate, right? Because there are 4 things. Not 14, not 40, 4 things. And I'm not going to talk you through the entire system in this video. But I want you to understand the philosophy of it. Because that's actually the most important part. I came from hundreds of indicators. Tried everything out there. And I'm sure you've done that as well. And I boiled it down to 4 numbers in the market to understand and predict the next move. Other people say predict when they can't predict. But this time it's true. And not only can I do it, but my other students do that on a regular basis now. That means that this information is transferable. Sure, other people can definitely probably predict the market. Absolutely. But are they able to take that information and translate that in the same way we have been able to do that into new students? I don't think so. So if now go back into this very area again, and this is on live price, this is a very clean setup that somebody in my group would take. Quite literally. This is what a setup looks like under this system. What you have right here is a 2, because we swept a breathing room. And then it went back down into that 3, which gave me a wick 3 running into that area, which was the 1. And whenever 2 runs into essentially 1 and sweeps the 1, now the 3 is created. Now we have the wick 3 here so that we can move up above and take out the, so to say, shit show level or the ISS. This 2 essentially creates that 4, right? And since that's a 4, that's also a 2 in the higher time frame on multi-time frame sequence. And then price essentially moves back down here, creates this, and this turns into a CBC. So this is where you're going to enter your trade. And now you can basically take this area right here into that candle right there. That means that you have now specified the area in which you're going to look to take a short from, right? Sitting right here. This could be your entry. Your target? This low, for example. That's a 4-hour trade. But now you say, but Jay, that is... Sure, that's a 4-hour trade. That's pretty crazy. But you can't on repeating that. Every single one of my shit show traders knows this exact setup. Every single one of them. It's not even objective. They happen at all times. Because now if I were to go down to the 1 second chart, and I'll show you the fractality of price right in front of your eyes. Believe me or don't believe me. There we go. Within this area, what do we have? I have not seen this price action before. That's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 4. Run down, up, down, up, down. This is a 2. So where could your entry also be? Right here. And your stop could be sitting right there. And this is now a completely valid trade. And now some people would say, but Jay, I wouldn't take that trade. That's a crazy trade. That's a small trade. Well, take the next one. Like that one, into that one, into that one, into that one. That is also a 2. And I take that 2 and have this stop loss instead. And you target the same area down below, which is again, apparently down here. And now let's go back up to the 1 minute and see what it looks like. Now you have a 19-hour trade that I just showed you on the 1 second chart to minimize your stop. And you also have a 7-hour trade in the same move. One of them is more risky, the bigger one, and one of them is less risky, so to say, smaller one. But now you have, from one single trade for 2 minutes, this is a completely valid trade. If you were to ask my students in the 6-week program right now if this is true, every single one of them that has understood the information will say this is 100% a completely really good, valid looking trade. Now, in the beginning of this video, this sequence, this didn't even exist on the market. In the beginning of the video, when I started the video, this didn't exist, but as we were talking about other things, it just randomly appeared. It's not random. These things appear at all times, 24/7. No kill zones, no waiting for this. No. This stuff right here, they happen all the time. They're here all the time, 24/7. No matter where you live, it works on everything, on every single chart at all times. How many indicators did you see? Not a single one, did you? Just a bunch of squiggly lines and pure price. There is something very important about this. There's something very important about this, my friend. And that is when you're watching the market, and I'm going to be real with you right now, so I need you really to listen to this. When you're watching the market, and when you're living your everyday life, depending on how you see a problem, in the same manner, you're going to solve that problem. So if I see the market as a huge problem, it's going to be a huge problem. If I see the market as very complex, hard, I can't understand it, it's very complicated, because you feel like it should be, it's going to be. And if you look in your everyday life, if you have a problem right in front of you in your everyday, a very, very small problem for me, maybe for Jay, but a huge problem for you, like taking out the trash. The harder and the more annoying you think it is, the more annoying it's going to be. So if you see the market from this perspective, simplicity, it's going to be simple. And that is just the reality of things. And I wish somebody told me this and was upfront and real as I am with you right now. Because that would have changed my entire learning curve. Basically boiling it down for 2+ years down into a couple of months. That's the fact. Have I learned a lot from those 2 years? Yeah, I have learned a lot how to not operate. How to not do things. How to avoid the dickheads in this industry. How to not give a shit about what people think. That's what I've learned. But this right here, it's never seen before in the same manner. This is not repackaged. It is really not. It's something completely different. So if this resonates with you, if this is something you want, go for it. Put the time in. But if this is something you don't agree with, you're like, no, it doesn't really make sense to me. It doesn't fit my personality. It doesn't, you know what, my friend? Let me tell you something that not a single mentor will ever tell you. And this is, it's this right here. Don't be part of this. You go, what? But shouldn't you? No. If this is not your style, go do something that makes sense to you. And whenever you join another mentor or whatever style you like to trade in, if they ever say, stay here, run as fast as you can. Run as fast as you can, because these mentors, they live off of you almost succeeding. So you're coming back for more. Their job is to create crack cocaine for you, essentially. They want you to be on drugs. They want you to almost succeed because that's their business model. Don't you understand? While what I do, and a few other mentors out there do, they actually teach you how to do things, and they want you to leave. People leave my Discord, my system, my ideas, my teachings, because they've succeeded. People leave other Discords because they've gotten burnt from dickheads that don't know what they're doing. Or dickheads that really do know what they're doing, to make you bound to them at all times. I don't want you to be looking for indicators for confluence. Not waiting for 5 things to line up on 3 different time frames. Why bother? Just read price. What do you see? What do you operate in? And now you're going to be able to tap into the flow very fast, very easy, because you're trading what fits you. Now, simple doesn't mean easy. I want to be honest with you about that. Stripping away the complexity doesn't mean that trading becomes completely effortless. No. It's going to take time to make that change, right? But what it means is when a trade goes wrong, and trades will go wrong, I do take losses, right? I really do. I have harder days. I absolutely do. I'm just a trader. I'm not a God, amazing, this and that. No, absolutely not. I'm just a trader. I'm just a dude that trades. I have a family, I still eat, right? But when you take a wrong trade, you actually understand why it went wrong. You're not blaming a lagging signal. You're not blaming the market or the algorithm is out for you. No, it's not that. Because you do those things because you don't understand. And with this stuff, you understand when you've done something wrong. And you can punish yourself for it so you become better. You can look at the chart and say, the structure I was reading didn't hold. Here's what I missed. And you get better, for example. With indicators, you never really get better. You just add more indicators. You're trying to put out a fire with fire. Same way with people that release new things all the time, all over the place. What do? And what do you do? Whenever you hit that wall and reach into this sort of state of mind where you go, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what direction I should take. They and you say that you need more information. You might have missed some information. Welcome to the informational loop, my friend. You hit a wall. You look for more information. Will you hit walls in the 6-week program as well? Absolutely. But the point is, when you're looking for more information, there's no information to get from, because this is the information that starts and it ends, and there's no more to it. This is what I'm using, and I'm forcing it into your brain. This is it. So you're going to have to face the fact that it works because so many people are becoming profitable with it that it's absolutely disgusting to look at, that they don't have any other information. So now you're getting confused. But this is the same information they are using, but I'm using it as well. But now it's, see what I mean? Your brain tries to escape into that informational loop. You're trying to put out a fire with more fire. And the more things you add to something, the worse it will become, because the more complicated it gets and the more things you need to add. It's a never-ending spiral. With this, it starts, it ends, it's over. Learn, practice, and piss off. Get rid of your stupid ass, disgusting looking indicators. Talk to you soon. Kick ball with NQ. Deuce.